Hello and welcome back. We are here continuing our Brazil run. Last episode was our starting steps episode where we did kind of a few major things. One, we were really careful about maneuvering, and we will remain careful about maneuvering around IGs to prevent a rev from giving above 50% clout. I think this is probably the easiest way to fail the Magnanimous Monarch, and we are going to look to avoid doing that. We also managed to get into Russia's market, so that's big nice for us, which means for us, we will be siphoning off a ton of migrants, which we have already begun to see the likes of it. You notice these guys are Brazilian, Afro-Brazilian Mande, and then we see stuff like Circassian, which that's coming from Russia, so that's going to be pretty nice. And then also we managed to subjugate Peru, Bolivia. It's one of the very strongest subjugations in the game in that you don't pay a lot of infamy for what you get, but on top of all this, or on top of this rather, it is going to be pretty nice for a sort of map painting exercise in South America, which we could do as Brazil, which will be nice and themey. They also, particularly not just resources, but also unlock some pretty good companies, the pride and joy of which being this Antofagasta railway plus sulfur company, which will also gain additional infrastructure. Infrastructure is a little bit of a pain. We are kind of progressing towards mechanical tools, so we will hopefully have railways soon. But without further ado, let's be off on our way, trying to get Magnanimous Monarch. Going to be focused a little bit on this episode, as well as I think there is something we can do here. Dedicated police force, I guess we are kind of okay passing that in order to kind of prevent a rev. The problem is that will that cause the guys to rev? The Landowners don't like it, but it's not going to cause them to rev, and I guess we could take a little bit of a crack at it because we're not passing anything right now. And then I believe the rural folk will prefer this, and they are a group that we were trying to avoid having rev. So all these things, notably, we might look to exile this guy. We were going to exile him right now and go for schools, but pacifist is not an ideology. They are upset with us because we passed a form of colonialism, which is why they are having this sort of debuff right here, this -6. But we will continue on, and we will be going dedicated police force. So we quickly subjugate both Congo and Bahrain, largely looking to establish diplomatic interest in these regions, and then we look to move our interests over, to both Dixie and also the Pacific Coast, so that when the US declares on Mexico, we can readily join in and maybe be able to help them out. Unfortunately, a little bit of a low roll here. I don't think I've ever seen the U.S. do this. They declare war not in the strategic region of either Dixie or Pacific Coast, but rather in Mexico itself, going for Sonora Treaty Port. This is unusual. This might be patch 1.5.10, kind of the new deal, but unfortunately there will be all this stuff in here, and we can't join in. We really want to side with them. I mean, in theory, we could reload, but we're just going to continue on. But this is just a very fascinating thing where they're going for a treaty port. We've never seen that before. Rather than having the primary war goal be kind of actually something they're interested in. We ourselves are going for New Granada here, just looking to subjugate them. They're quite likely to back down, but big unfortunate on this here, because we would like to, reverse sway in and maybe peel some states off of Mexico in exchange for our assistance. Although it does seem that the reverse sway mechanic is way toned down here in patch 1.5.10. We'll need a bigger sample size, but we thought that we were big braining it out here, and we in fact missed the mark. We will declare North Africa in case France starts going in there, and North India, so that if there's a rev up here that the UK has for their subjects, actually Oceanias might be a little bit better. We can maybe join on their side there. We notably also are having an interest here in Senegal, so that we can colonize there. We're colonizing in Congo here, and we're colonizing a couple spots in Senegal, looking to get areas of ingress both through here and up through here, which is kind of why we've selected the two places we have. Currently, we didn't manage to get Kenya before, the UK swallowed it all up, but we are going to have multiple areas of ingress here and probably a fairly good colonization game. And hey, Peru, Bolivia has formed. We only paid the infamy for the Bolivia section, but they remain our protectorate through the, to the bitter end. We don't mind the formation. Something we do have to maybe take care about is when we are subjugating these guys, the amount we pay is based, or the amount of infamy that gets paid is based off of their population, and we have to be aware that it is possible that these guys will start siphoning off a lot of pops from from Russia. Now we're not seeing a whole lot being siphoned off here, which is curious considering this might be dependent on what laws they have. They might not allow migration. They allow migration, just not discriminated migration, and they have national supremacy in their citizenship laws. So they do not accept the Russian pops. So this is why the Russian pops cannot siphon them off. However, with Peru, Bolivia, by the way, we can change their laws. Big nice. With Peru, Bolivia, we see that they are on racial segregation, and so they are probably siphoning off decent chunks of migrants. You can see the big, migration movement, and we can see which ones are coming. Polish, Lithuanians, these types of things. And so they will be kind of piling in. And so I guess it would be preferable to go after people who don't have racial segregation, but instead have more suppressive or oppressive types of laws, like, for example, the very, very nice New Granada. I wasn't even aware that they start on national supremacy, but that's going to be terrific for us because they will not siphon off migrants, and so they will remain cheap for us to decrease infamy on and eventually look to annex. So we get our government petition done, the armed forces are nice and happy, and everyone's pretty happy, so we have a lot more flexibility here. Also, our contested government legitimacy is up to 60, which means we can come back in and we can increase the taxes. We will look to add a little bit more construction with this extra money here, and then we're going to look around. Notably, we also don't want to kick around in here too much because we don't want to generate too much radicalism, because we kind of care about this sort of thing, right? If we can't have a rev go over 50% as part of the journal entry, we do have to be a little bit more careful for radicals and sacrifice some explosiveness on the run. Now, what we're going to be looking for is, I think we're going to want to go pub schools, which is going to make the Catholic Church upset, but hopefully not revolutionary. And even if they are revolutionary, 11% clout, I hope this isn't enough to kick them above 50%, because even if they don't rev, above 50% is not a tolerable thing for us, but we would also like public schools. We do have problems with qualifications. This is going to be something that's pretty good, just in a general sense, and right now, people support it, and so we're going to look to get it through. Also, we are in a little bit of pain. We would love to finish the atmospheric engine journal entry, which requires that we have, 75 of our buildings with a good cash reserve, good profit, and workforce occupancy greater than 75%. They are employing up quite slowly in a lot of these mines, which is a bit unfortunate. We'll maybe have to export lead, and specifically, it looks like Russia's not producing or consuming any, but here it's been very, very difficult for us to get this employment in, which is one of the reasons why, it's going to be important for us to get on education, because this way they will be able to pull the peasants out from, the working in the subsistence farms and into jobs like the mines a little bit better with some education. So this is one of our favorite events that we get with Emperor Pedro. He expects the same level of competence and meticulousness from his ministers as he applies to his own work. Now the emperor turns his attention to overseeing a particular cog in the machine of the government. 10% construction sector building throughput is pretty nice. It used to actually be construction efficiency. It looks like they nerfed it. Was going to say that construction efficiency is insane. This is not insane, but I think we'll still take the throughput. This will, cost us quite a bit more money and will be kind of the same as adding construction, but it allows us to build taller in particular places. We are building a couple rice farms. They are extraordinarily efficient per capita. We're not going to put them on, or not per capita, per construction, but we're not going to put them on auto expand. They're effectively 2 buildings for the price of 1. It's silly, but this is what you need to know. And then we're going to be kind of building in some iron mines in places we don't currently have them, probably setting them to auto expand and looking to push things up. We've started swapping to steel tools, but it's going to be a little bit of a slow swap because the employment is a little bit difficulty. They should be able to stifle the shortage. It's just they can't just get it done here, I suppose, which is, plot a coup. We'll keep a keen eye. I don't think we want a coup. Yeah, I don't think we want them to assassinate Pedro. I think this is the exact opposite of what we want. We do have to keep these guys in gov, though, per the Magnanimous Monarch journal entry, because one of the negatives is if these guys are powerful and not in government, we will get a negative tick here on Magnanimous Monarch. They are powerful, and they're not in government, but they're relatively happy. I don't know why they're revving, or cooing, rather. So they are pretty close to not being powerful. If we pull them out of gov, they won't be cooing. And so something I think we can do is we see, look, we would be able to form maybe a legitimate looking government if we had, in particular, the Intelligentsia and the trade unionists together. It's not quite as legitimate, but then we don't have to worry about the coup. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to look to promote generals that are part of those 4 interest groups that can form a relatively good-looking coalition. Now, this is going to cost us a little bit of bureaucracy, which is going to be a bit uncomfortable, but this will eat down the clout of the landowners, which is already decaying at a pretty good clip anyways, and this is going to be something that we look to do, although of course we are going to have to add in some government administrations in order to cover this, which is not ideal. Maybe this really isn't worth it. Maybe we're too small to like make these types of plays, but this is something we can do. Taking a look, we actually probably shouldn't have done this, but this is important to note that you can do it because it looks like these guys are just generally decaying anyways, and so we'll just let them kind of fade away. Well, it looks like they decided that the coup was a bad idea. I wonder if this has to do with them either not being unhappy. Well, they're unhappy and they're still powerful, so I'm not exactly sure why this democracy got saved, but democracy did get saved. So big nice for everyone except for the landowners. Big suck for them, but it is what it is. Now, we are experiencing some pretty significant pain with the Russian market. Somehow they've managed to lose all of their convoys. This has been kind of a bit of a problem in various versions of the game, but it is because they are fighting a war, I think, and I'm not sure if their convoys are getting raided or what exactly is the thing, but we are putting in a whole bunch of ports which will help to provide access, but this is absolutely brutal. It makes it so that these guys will basically have an entirely isolated market, which is less of a problem if we had a lot of really good mappy states, like Transvaal, but we don't. And so we are just going to be getting crushed until we can get this resolved. And man, normally this doesn't set in this early, which is indicative to me that perhaps the balance is a little bit different in 1.5.10, and being inside someone's market, as we are, is a little bit more dangerous. We really want to stay in, though, because man, oh man, do we really like getting a ton of migration. And so, it's a bit tough. We'll see exactly how this shakes out. So I'm at a little bit of a loss because this is new. This is definitely new in 1.5.10, so I'm actually not sure how to handle this. We have reached 0 market access. And we really want to stay in Russia's market because of, free migration. But it seems to be the case that France has just absolutely brutalized Russia's convoys, and Russia is just, there's nothing to be done here. They are this is the play that's going on currently, that Russia's fighting in. They are fighting in, this war between Austria and Prussia for German leadership. There is access to Greece, which is part of the Russian market. They have 50% access right now, which we would be fine floating. I don't know if we can float 100%, but we can see Russia in here. Russia, they need to either white peace out or do something like this, and balance can be restored to our market, but, I don't know exactly how long we're supposed to tolerate this pain. This is not something we can ever tolerate, even remotely close long term. You can't even tolerate really higher than, 80, 85, this type of thing. And 0% is just an absolute kick in the nuts. We're getting crushed out of here, and so I'm not sure exactly what we're supposed to do in regards to this. I'm thinking we might want to leave. We maybe just try and tough it out. I don't know. This is a bit of a conundrum, and perhaps we just try to tough it out. And I don't know. This is rough. This is real rough. So I think this is absolutely untenable. I just think we can't possibly survive at 0% market access, but unfortunately, we have to try to, because since we just joined Russia's market, we actually can't voluntarily leave it. If we take a look here, unless we were to declare war on them, but this is just a wild thing. But we cannot end the customs union, and we owe them an obligation, so there's no way for us to declare war on them. This is just this absolutely horrific situation that's almost run breaking, actually, because we can't sustain this for very long. What's going to happen is we're running a shortage of stuff like paper. We are going to run an increasingly big deficit. We're just going to stop construction. We might even delete every construction sector. Actually, I think that's what we have to do. Holy shit. This is just an absolutely catastrophic situation that's borne out by the fact that I think whatever new Navy system is in place allows for this to happen. This doesn't happen. You get low access, you get bad access, but you don't get 0% access before. And so this is an entirely new phenomenon, which is maybe going to make it so that you don't want to try and do a customs union thing unless it's with like the UK or someone like really big or something like this, just because of the enormous risky run of this situation, we're gonna watch just as everything falls apart, I suppose, because we can't do anything about it. Okay, so it looks just as if we're getting the hard times, and we can't afford really any expenditure, to be fair. I think we... I guess we take that so we get a bunch of extra authority, because we're actually spending quite a large portion of our eco on this stuff. But, oh man, this is, Russia is not in war anymore, so maybe we're going to see a starting to return of this. But it's still zero. It's still absolutely zero. I mean, as they recover, this should come back. I don't know why it's not coming back. There is some access, you know, here in Greece. But they're not at war anymore, so I'm not sure exactly what pace we're going to see the recovery at, but this is looking just very, very, very grim, you know, from our perspective here. I guess if we're just have the extra authority, we could just maybe do something like this, put in some consumption taxes. I really don't think this is going to, yeah, this is generating us like nothing. We would rather just float it for the faster law pass. In fact, let's get rid of these, because the faster law pass is almost certainly going to be better. We're not building anything, and we're in a deficit, and part of this is the fact that our government administrations are almost certainly running some sort of paper shortage, because the paper can only be provided locally, and so if, yeah, see, no paper, and then this is killing their outputs, really just a cascading negative effect, and, I mean, if this is the case, joining Russia's market's not going to even be that good, and it will require testing whether joining something like the UK's market can actually be good. Yeah, we're going to get a ton of these negative events. I mean, we might end up rolling up the minus 100%. To be fair, you can stack these modifiers to minus 100% decree cost and abuse it and just put down every decree everywhere. We're not going to do that, but this is something you could do. But you're not in any wars, my guy. Is the run just bricked? Is this the unfortunate end of the run? Like, if this is a bug, where we are at zero market access, which we're still at zero, we're still absolutely isolated. They're connected to the Russian shipping lane via shipping lane into the ports of Ojotsk and Lima. Market access reduced to zero due to low shipping effectiveness. Why does it go to Lima? But so here to over here, the Russian market's just completely crushed. They have it crushed in Alaska. I don't know why it would be completely crushed in Alaska. We're not building anything. This is just very, very not nice. But we do see Fabio born. He is the heir, and of course he's gonna die, and then Isabella will be the new heir. But this is kind of progression, you know, in regards to the flavor. But like the flavor is gonna be a rel if we have to wait 5 years to get market access recovered. And so this is looking really super hyper grim. Grim. I don't even know what to do. We're gonna continue on, but it's looking like just pain. 1%. So you're saying there's a chance. We'll see exactly how quickly this like rolls back up. It's looking like it's gonna roll back up at a decent clip. So the run is not catastrophically lost, but this is just like so calamitous to our overall eco. I don't even know, like, there's not even, like, a way to, like, properly express how bad this is. We're going to be researching pharmaceuticals after hitting railways. Other than just, like, everything just collapses. Just, like, your prices just go absolutely bananas. You know, plus 120%, minus 68%. Just really completely untenable, just absolute gluts or just complete shortages of everything. Like, there's, like, no way to express, like, how catastrophic this is, especially if we do not have states that can build every resource and everything, which we don't in Brazil. Like, we're not set up for this stuff at all. Oh man, we're just getting absolutely rolled over. Like, we don't like it. We never agreed to this. Russia wants a defensive pact, and we don't want a defensive pact with them because they're our overlord. I think we're gonna I really want to continue constructing. Constructing is just like the basic feedback loop of the game, but all right, we're gonna try and resume construction. Minus 73k, Jesus, dude. And we're on max taxes. We should have been running minimum taxes this entire time because we're not generating anything through taxes right now anyway. And we do get some positive benefits, but like, yikes, dude. I think we'll put back in a tax, not on... Where's services? Wow, it's just like, everything's just so bricked. Services, where is it on the thing? This is just like so... we're getting like 1K from this and we're running a negative 60K deficit. This is like meaningless amount of money, which is unfortunate. We will let them eat cake, but yeah, there's like, this is so bad. We just have to stop constructing. We were hoping we could like start rolling the economy back in. I mean, it's at 30. Yeah, we'll just wait until it's at like 60% or something like this before we try and start trying to construct, because that's the most expensive construction we've ever tried to crank in. All right, some kind of balance has been restored to the force, but that's going to be an absolutely massive, even though it's like only like 2-year stint that this happens, that's going to be an absolutely massive like detriment to our economy overall. We didn't want to do any diplo plays while we were like kind of involved in that, so we got to 0, but like, oh Jesus, that's just like so ugly. And now like we're kind of okay, but the fact, I think it's just France just absolutely wrecked Russia's convoys. This is the only explanation we have for it, and this makes joining the customs union of someone who does not have a dominant navy, if the AI uses their navy even effectively, which we're not certain of, is going to be just absolutely like, you can't do it, I guess. We are struggling so much with legitimacy, staying over 25. We could. So the problem is like we are getting, well, actually we're getting a decent amount of enactment chance off the back of events and not off the back of just the intelligentsia and the trade unionists. Yeah, let's slot out these guys until we can get the law passed. But we notably have to keep the landowners in until they get to 18% clout, at which point we are going to put them out and then, decrease their clout. We are going to suppress them, but we have to keep them in. They're trending down. Once they hit that point, it's going to be much easier for us to maintain a legitimate government, relying on the industrialists and the intelligentsia, the unholy alliance, and hopefully we can get these landowners to fade away big slow, which is kind of the way we've been running this bizzle. I'm just still traumatized from that 0% market access. I think we're going to join on the UK side, not because it matters, but because we want to generate, an attitude from them that is stronger than, hey, we get Brazilian succession. An attitude that was stronger than cautious, and now they're cordial, and we get the Brazilian succession. Women are not fit to rule? Absolutely not. Isabel must be groomed to the throne. That's a modifier if we ever did see one. She permanently gets minus 50% popularity. The truth hurts. And this will deplete the magnanimous monarch by 1. However, if we manage to get... we get to rake some of that back if we ever get onto not restricted child labor, although we could put her to work. But instead, we need to get onto property and women, which, again, we can't afford to rev. And so the Catholic Church and the other guys don't like it, so we will not be doing that immediately. But we instead will be kind of doing that, more down the road. And we went after Versailles because this is like one of the best places we could get. It's got gold. It's got everything we need, and we can incorporate it in just 5 years. But yeah, just a big discomfort here right now. So, yeah. So we pipped nationalism, and with it, we finished the journal entry for nationalism of Brazil, which is going to give us for 10 years 5% prestige, 10% assimilation, 10% migration attraction. Migration attraction being the key one. We get a really nice flat modifier, coming in here. We get a really nice flat modifier from unused arable land in a lot of our places. We get 10% from my major power, so not a lot. So this additional 10% is going to represent for us a big kick up in migration attraction. I think we managed to pause in time when we started talking about this, that the 26 was representative of what it was before. Okay, but we see it go down. Well, it shouldn't be going down. The migration attraction's higher. Not sure exactly what's going on, but we do have much more migration attraction, so we're going to continue to siphon off peasants. I hope this all, in the end, is worth it, because this is just so much pain we're getting inflicted by being in the Russian market. Although right now we're in pain because we had been trying to do lower taxes for a while, but like, we might have to rake back a bunch of construction, actually. This might be what we have to end up doing. We're going to rake it back in places where we don't specifically produce iron. We know we don't produce it in Piranha. We were producing there because we knew we had a lot of pops there. We produce it in Minas Gerais. We don't produce it in Rio de Janeiro. We're just going to rake back some of this construction because we can't afford all this. Rio Grande do Sul, I don't think they have it. Para has some. Transvaal and Versailles have some. I don't think they have any. They might have had some, but this is going to significantly decrease, our overall what we are consuming, and it's going to be a little bit more efficient once we swap up to iron frame buildings somewhere in the kind of the near future, rather than being on some of the last vestiges of wood frame buildings. But this is just like, we're in recovery mode. We're going to tax liquor. Normally we don't like to do this. It just affects the little rung pops more, but we're just trying to right this ship before we sink. So the landowners are finally no longer powerful, and so what we can do is we can rake back back some of these road maintenances. We're going to in particular do it in Rio de Janeiro, Bahia, and I think we can get rid of the loud car outside. I think we can get rid of also the violent suppression in Transvaal, also a couple of these road maintenances, and we are in particular looking to get enough authority. Now that these guys are no longer powerful, we can just reform the government like this, which will be much more legitimate. It's going to kind of have the people we want. Hopefully these guys might res. We're going to try and suppress them. I think that we can get... Oh, we should have waited. Damn it. We should have waited for public schools to tick because this... We can't let this give above 50%, but public schools is also about to finish, so we don't want to, like, end it right now, but... in order to get public schools to tick faster, we're going to reduce taxes a couple notches, which will put us in... Oh my god, it doesn't put us in the right bracket. We're going to reduce it 3 notches. Like, we're just going to hemorrhage money for a little bit, a hot second. Also, these guys, equilibrium at 64%, and so it's... I think we should be able to get on public schools fast enough that we don't have to worry about this. We also get an election, big nice. Hopefully these guys didn't get a higher amount of clout. They didn't, which is nice. And also, now we could be a higher, tax amount and still be legitimate. We are going to have a 95% chance of hitting this. So unless this jumps 50% here, we are extremely likely to kind of get our thing. Covert agitation, the armed forces, yeah, let's do that. But we are going to be able to get this in here. And then I think we might just chill or even pass something the landowners want. There is one law in particular we would want that, I think that it might be meta to go peasant levies. Maybe we should have got it before. Maybe this is an experiment for a different country or this type of thing. But minus military goods cost, and now you no longer you only disallow stuff on your conscripts, but we're using conscripts right now a decent amount, so we kind of don't want to disable stuff on conscripts, but maybe sometime later we want to do this. But we are going to be able to get this public schools in, which is going to be so nice. We're also we have a bunch of extra bureaucracy right now, and so this is going to allow us to kind of immediately go for stuff. We will add even more, so we can increase the level of public schools, which will help with our hiring issues as well in places like Transvaal. So the movement is staying, unfortunately, which puts us in a little bit of a pickle. We are going to try our best to kind of decrease its power. Here we're going to start by exiling this guy so he can't agitate anymore. And then we are going to also, take a look at where we are using some of our authority. We're using road maintenance in a couple places. Kind of want to build tall in these places to continue to use the road maintenance, but I think we're just going to nuke it for now because money is still a bit of concern after like that absolute debacle with getting out of like Russia's market. Jesus. And so, this is another problem. Okay, but we do have enough authority. I thought we already raised that back for us to suppress these guys as well, and then we'll come back down here. We'll do that, so we're not hemorrhaging too much money, and hopefully we can reduce, the support for this from very high, plus 77, to enough that it doesn't get into the 50s. This is a bit of a problem, though, for us, and I'm not sure we can do it. So it was actually a very critical mistake that we slotted these guys out of Gov initially. We should have just waited for the law to pass before slotting them out. They are pretty upset. We are hoping that these guys tick below -9 soon. They do have decaying effects, from a swap. Actually, this guy likes the recent swap, which is kind of unfortunate. I think this guy dislikes recent swaps to local police or dedicated police force, but there isn't anything. Unfortunately, we can't put them in Gov to pass something they like. This is an unfortunate thing, because we would be more than happy to pass something that they would be interested in, just by slotting them into government and just like saying, hey, let's do it. But we can't do this. We're just double checking, but I'm pretty sure we already checked, and there's really nothing that they would like other than, well, nope, there's just like nothing that they would like. Except for the thing they're agitating for, which is interventionism. I mean, I guess we could do it. Laissez-faire is significantly better, but I guess we don't want to fail the journal entry, right? And so what will happen, we will just give in. If they are moving in that direction of 50%, we're just going to give in. If it's looking like it's looming at a 50%, we'll just give in and enact interventionism, which is a bit unfortunate. So we will hold off enacting any other law, and then this will hopefully... it won't give us too many. There aren't even that many individuals supporting. Yeah, okay, well, whatever. It is what it is. Okay, so it looks like the interventionism movement calmed down very significantly. So we will look for a useful law to pass that does not upset either the rural folk or the landowners, as we try and, well, we don't even need to really suppress the rural folk. We are going to continue, at least for now, until this comes down even more, perhaps. And maybe we enact poor laws because it has a lot of support and radicalism, and so we can generate for ourselves a little bit of, people are really big mad after having zero market access and everyone's poor and everyone's SOL completely collapsed and, everyone became revolutionary. And, look at these numbers, just absolutely huge negative approval off the back of that, insane Russia thing. And so I think that maybe it's not even the play to join their customs union anymore. Maybe this is kind of how but there should be a ton of pops supporting poor laws, 3.5 million. And so if we pass this, then we should be able to get a lot of guys happy. Currently, who dislikes it? The landowners. So the landowners will support this in a revolutionary way. However, maybe they aren't strong enough to force a rev from us. I mean, a lot of people really like this one. We also will pass it very fast because it has 35% support, but on top of the 35 support, we do have all the clout, the 33% from the Industrialists here. And we're suppressing the landowners right now. They're the only ones. I think we could keep it under, and I think we need to make some kind of move here, so we're just going to go for it. Hopefully it works. We do see 69%, nice. And these guys, atmospheric engine, that's going to be super nice. Perhaps there's an even better way, water tube boiler. Why are these guys revving with them, though? That's so unfortunate. We didn't want these guys to rev with them. Now it's just the same thing over again. We could handle just one. We couldn't handle both. It's because these guys are insurrectionary right now, because they're at -10. I think they leave, though, if they're not at -10, and we don't have any agitators to get them to stick, so maybe we can try and tough it out and just plug through these events, but this is a little bit precarious here. So I think we might just have to eat the negative tick on Magnanimous Monarch here, unfortunately. Maybe we didn't execute this very well, but these guys are going to get above 50% here. It's not going to actually rev, and we will pass poor laws, but I don't think there's too many pops supporting poor laws, I think, for us to just not pass it after starting it. There's too many supporting pops. The pops, 3.4 million. You take a look at the radicalism heat map. This is what happens when you get 0% market access for an extended period of time, and I think what might happen if we stop this is we'll just get a different sort of rev that is just going to be a bit of a problem, and so it's lamentable, but look how much negative approval we have off the back of all this radicals. The rich pops really got kicked in the nuts, and this is how you get the minus approval, is when the rich pops get kicked in the nuts by this whole Russia affair where we were kicked out of the market or we had zero market access and we wanted to leave and we couldn't leave, and it was just big unfortunate, but we're just going to get the tick here that's going to kick us over 50%. We will get the negative tick on the Monarch, if I'm not mistaken, unless we just high roll like a champ here. Because I think it's going to check on Monday, right? So if we just high roll like a champ, oh my god, are we just going to high roll like a champ repeatedly? There's no way, dude. We're just not that handsome and lucky. Probably doing mine minus all mine. Actually, we do kind of want a lot of people in Transvaal, so we will do that. If it's Transvaal specifically, getting a lot of pops here is going to be really nice because we are trying to build tall here, and actually being able to manage some migration attraction would be fantastic. Why aren't you a little bit more attracted here? Turmoil? Yeah, okay, that's fair. The Great Molasses Flood, also nice. But we're almost certainly... we can't get more radical. Let's just take the food throughput. But it's so unfortunate because if we were just a little bit faster on enacting poor laws, we wouldn't have to go over 50%, but I think we go over 50% here. There's not much to be done about it. So we did get a negative tick on Magnanimous Monarch, unfortunately. Hopefully that doesn't break us completely. That was a bit unfortunate. That was a really rough spot. You notice we lost a million radicals here, which helps out quite a bit with passing poor laws, and maybe we should have just passed interventionism. In retrospect, we should have just passed interventionism. It's so much worse than laissez-faire, but we should have just, as a sort of concession to what was going on as a result of that just obscene situation with Russia, we should have passed it. But this episode, we just we got completely bent over by lack of convoys in the Russian market. I think that it was convoy raiding that was the cause of this by the French on the Russians, but I'm not entirely sure. But that just perhaps throws a wrench in the entire strategy of when you're playing a new world country joining Russia's market, because so far at this moment, it's not worth it for us to have gotten these migrants, but also suffer that like situation. But long term, if we stay in, and that's kind of the only negative situation, then it will definitely be worth it because we're getting a lot of migrants here. And so, but also next time we'll just be able to leave. Like if this happens again, we'll just be able to leave the customs union, and this is what we'll do rather than go to 0%. And so this will be kind of where we go. We're also going after Argentina here, just kind of going after a little bit of South America play. We could have joined Mexico, but they weren't really offering us anything good, and so not much sense in just like spicing up our relationship with the USA just to help out Mexico. And but we are going to be getting private health insurance, or public health insurance, which is going to be really, really good. It's going to help for our pop growth overall, and is going to be a very, very important tech. We notably want to do that before we maybe marginalize the Catholic Church. Although our intelligentsia is really weak, maybe we just lean into the church and forget about the intelligentsia, Pedro aside. So this is kind of the weird situation where we have, something that kind of streamlines us into being intelligentsia, in that you want to play towards, him and his daughter, which are both intelligentsia, but then you get, so you get like one of the worst intelligentsias, because 10% prestige is nowhere near as good as 25% migration attraction. I don't know. We'll lower taxes to be in the new bracket, but like, yeah, it's rough. It's rough out here. This run suddenly feels really like not so good. Hopefully we'll be able to like pull it out, but like this has just been a struggle this entire episode. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Do the YouTube algo thing. Here we are getting to the point where we need to get legal guardianship enacted, and also she's heir to the throne for at least 10 years, and then we advance magnanimous monarch by 3, and also we can have Pedro step down at some point in the future. And if we have Pedro step down under these conditions, I believe we just complete the entry. So this is kind of what we're looking towards. Anyways, toodaloo.